One of your federal regulators, someone appointed by Donald Trump, sat down and wrote an essay about restoring balance and neutrality to America's public airwaves. Fairness, local voices, getting partisan influence out of your local news. And that essay was published exclusively on Breitbart. The headline, quote, "Restoring Balance to the Broadcast Airwaves," and it was written by FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. That's the man that's in charge of keeping American television fair. And then he announced his plan to depoliticize it on probably one of the most politicized outlets out there, Breitbart. That would be like me announcing a vegan cookbook in the official newsletter of the Texas Cattlemen's Association. Also, I could never become vegan. I love my steak way too much. I'm sorry. But look, this op-ed that Brendan Carr wrote, it ran 3 weeks ago. And in it, he announced a very specific date, August 6th. That's when the FCC votes to eliminate the nationwide ownership cap for local broadcast stations. And on August 6th, the FCC voted to eliminate the national ownership cap. Vote went 2-1 straight down party lines. Funny how that works. It's almost as if Carr published the result before the vote and published it in a partisan outlet. I mean, and this whole thing plays out like a stupid wrestling promo. That's right, brother. These caps are going down. You see, oh yeah, the Carbonator's gonna run wild over anyone that tries to keep your market share down. And just like professional wrestling, the outcome here was scripted. The crowd knew who was going to be going over, and the belt was always going to go home with Nexstar. And the rule they killed has stopped any single company from owning enough TV stations to reach more than 39% of American households. Congress set that number in 2004 in an actual law. And now, 2 unelected commissioners just decided that that law passed by Congress, more like a guideline. And Carr has his own replacement now for this law, and he's calling it a case-by-case review, which is a lovely way of saying there is no longer a rule. There is just Brendan Carr's opinion of your particular merger on any given Tuesday. And I can almost promise you that that opinion is tied to your opinion and your support of Donald Trump. Now, there is something in this actual argument that deserves a fair hearing because there are parts of it that are true. Brendan Carr wrote that New York and Hollywood interests have steamrolled local television, that local stations are getting hollowed out, turning into, and in his words, little more than mouthpieces for programming produced in New York and Hollywood. And he's right. That is happening. He's just wrong about the location. Because local news has been gutted, and real reporters in real communities have been replaced by whatever a corporate parent pipes in. It's just coming now from Baltimore or Texas, where companies like Sinclair Broadcasting or Nexstar are based. This must-carry political content, ridiculous cuts to real newsrooms that have poisoned your local markets for years. And Brendan Carr's solution was to make it legal for a handful of these enormous national companies to own even more local stations. Some even own competing stations in the same market. And I've got to ask you, when a regulator can just undo a law that Congress passed just by holding a partisan vote and announcing the damn thing in Breitbart, is that still a law? Does the law even exist anymore? Let me know in the comments. Now, there was one vote against. Ana Gomez, the Democrat on that commission, said something extremely precise. She said that the big station groups positioned to grow under this ruling, quote, are not local broadcasters. They are national companies that own local stations and increasingly dictate what airs on them, end quote. And I couldn't agree more, because that's what Brendan Carr says he was trying to get rid of. And by the way, in this same op-ed, Carr specifically praises the right of a local station to preempt, to refuse to air national programming that doesn't fit its community's values. He treats that as the whole point. Yet, Sinclair Broadcast Group runs must-run stupid political segments. Corporate headquarters sends them down, and then local stations air them, community values or not. And if you've ever seen one of these, you can see it across YouTube everywhere. You'll see a video of dozens of local anchors all over the country reading the exact same script about fake news, in unison, word for word, like a nationwide hostage choir. That is what a national company dictating to local stations looks like. And Sinclair overall, long term, they're going to be one of the biggest winners of this vote. But the immediate winner is Nexstar, the largest owner of local television stations in the country. They had been blocked by a federal court from buying another station group because of this exact law, this exact cap. Well, now that block's gone. Nexstar, by the way, also owns the CW and News Nation, nationwide programs. The precise thing that Carr's op-ed spends 9 paragraphs warning you about. They just aren't in LA. They aren't in Hollywood. They're in Texas. And by the way, this is kind of funny. Donald Trump was against this on the record on Truth Social in November, saying no expansion of the fake news networks. If anything, make them smaller. And he was worried that it would let the corporate giants like ABC and NBC buy their own stations and let them grow. Instead, we're getting friendly station groups. Hell, even a Newsmax executive, a Trump ally, warned that this would end up helping networks that Donald Trump considers hostile. And maybe in the long run it will. And look, consolidation, it doesn't check anybody's voter registration. It just asks who has the biggest wallet. And that's why if you want media that survives without buying up 39% of the country to stay solvent, becoming a member is a great way to help us out. And if not, do me a favor, just leave a like, leave a comment, hit that notification icon. Any interaction helps.